Let's welcome in the main man himself, Brian Schottenheimer, brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
What's up, guys? So there's a lot of housekeeping things. So number one, the fact that I get on these shows, you guys are starting to make me feel like you guys don't enjoy this show because you guys each take turns of missing days.
I'm always here.
I mean, RJ, yeah, I know. Well, and that leads me to my next story. So we land in New York. I'm like, hey, let me go check out some of these restaurants. So I go to Arthur and Sons on the West Village. I'm like, hey, Sean sent me. And they're like, who? And I go, no, Sean. And they go, who's that? I said, well, what about Bobby Belt? And they're like, oh, yeah, we love that guy. Come on in, Coach.
Coach.
Hey, Bobby, thank you, man.
You're
I mean,
welcome.
the meal was amazing. I wanted to take care of it, so I paid and all that stuff. But thank you again, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, Coach.
Wait a second. Hang on. Let me get things straight out real quick. Here I am getting kicked in the you-know-what every single week, and then we are all scattering Nick like we're his assistant, all trying to race and compete with each other to get him this reservation that he can't get in New York. I have the owner of Rayo's, the sauce that you see in the store, the place no one can get in. I got Brian Schottenheimer. He needs a Rezzo tonight at Rayo's. Put him next to De Niro. Put him next to Eli. He goes, well, we're not open, but I got two other places. He said, I'll take care of it. I send this over to Tad. We know Tad,
Yeah.
our buddy PR. Tad gives me the nice little fake pat on the shoulder, like, oh, thanks.
That's because I had it handled.
I'll get back to you. I'll get back. Bobby, you would have booked the Olive Garden. You got a 5-year-old
Did you
palate.
not just hear how good Shotty's meal was? I have it.
And I'm like, I got him. I got you set. And I get a nice little, we'll get back to you there from Tad. So I owe Tad a little trash talk and now Shotty. But there you go. I'm glad Bobby.
Listen, when we play the Giants, hey, you got a little more time. When we play the Giants, in New York, maybe you can hook me up then. I mean, because Bobby's used up his one favor. I need you for when we make the trip up to New York.
Well, Coach, this just tells me you have no food taste either because this place is a chain. I got people in Southlake telling me they got one there, so just go to Southlake. I can get you in there. Brian Schottenheimer here. That is fantastic. It is awesome, and of course, you had a fantastic weekend there in New York. And Brian Schottenheimer joining us right here on 105.3 The Fan. Nick, you think you watched last night?
Yeah, Coach, it was a huge win for the Giants last night over the Eagles. How much of that game were you able to catch? And you guys have played both teams. Were you as surprised as the rest of us at how New York was able to control that game?
I actually caught the last 2 or 3 minutes when I came home, so the game was kind of in hand. But just watching some of the highlights and stuff, it was very impressive. The two young rookies on offense sounded like they played great. Dart obviously moving around, making some plays, and Scatterbo running the football. And as we all know, that defense is very, very dangerous. Sounds like Brian Burns played terrific. And, again, I think it's the league is exactly where the NFL wants it to be, right? I mean, just the competitiveness of the league and anybody on any given Sunday. And it's a very competitive division, as you guys know.
Yeah, bringing it back to your squad, Brian Schottenheimer here on 105.3 The Fan. You guys were dealt a pretty big blow when you lost CeeDee Lamb and Tyler Booker against the Bears with their high ankle sprains. But with the solid play from TJ Bass and the receiver room really stepping up the way that they have, has it maybe lessened the urgency to get those guys back on the field as soon as possible?
Well, I'm so proud of those guys, the way they played. I mean, just the guys that have stepped in across the board. TJ's played really, really well. I thought, Hakeem Adeniji did a great job for us last week. Ryan Flournoy stepping in last week. We know what we have with Jalen Tolbert, but it never stops your urge to get your great players back. But it does show that we've got depth. We're going to find a way to compete and to try to win every week, no matter what. And there's no excuses in this league, guys. You go out there, you compete, you find a way to win. If you play well, you normally do. And I think the thing I'm most proud of is just the depth and the reps that we've gotten for some young players, like a Nate Thomas, is going to pay dividends for us at some point later on in this year.
Speaking of Nate Thomas, he had a pretty comical celebration penalty last week. I talked to Osa this week, and he said his teaching point is to just do mini pumps, no big pumps. Did you have any words for Nate this week, or was there maybe a funny moment in the team meeting on Monday?
Well, I talked to Nate after it happened. I actually didn't see exactly what the celebration was. And then I just explained to him, like, look, hey, we want you to have a good time. We want to celebrate. It's that whole thing about, hey, play to the edge, don't go over the edge. And, it's the Hinkle McGriggleberry thing. I think it's a real thing, and it's like 3 pumps is too many. And it's 2, you're fine. But we had a really good time with it in the meeting. The guys loved it, and they were very large thrusts. They were not mini thrusts.
I thought he was going to avoid all that, and he gave us radio sound bites. Amazing.
Hey, it's authenticity. Coach, you mentioned you're always excited to get these players back, get these good players back, back from injury. Is that a tightrope, though, you have to walk at all, where you're going to talk to a guy and just say, hey, I know you got this opportunity and you stepped in and you did everything the right way. It's just not your time yet. Is that a tough conversation to have at all, of just like, hey, there's nothing you're doing wrong. You're doing great when you step in here, but we've got to get back to the guys we have in place here.
So they understand it. It's having a hard conversation. It's explaining to them, hey, look, you've done a really good job. You've maximized your opportunities. We're so proud of you for that. We just see it's such a bright future for you. But I really do believe in the old adage that, you shouldn't lose a starting job because of an injury. I do believe this. I mean, if you go in and you perform well when someone's out with an injury, you earn more playing time. It doesn't mean you have to start. Doesn't mean that you have to take someone's job. But again, if you believe in the mantra, which we do, of compete every day and, trying to be the best version of yourself every day in practice and every day in games, you earn more opportunities, not necessarily a starting job.
Brian Schottenheimer with us here on 105 through the Fan. Okay, Schotty, so a couple years ago, I was talking to a draft prospect, and he was telling me about a conversation he had with you leading up to his pro day, or at his pro day, where he said that he had asked you what it was like to play with Dak, and that you had told him that Dak is always going to make sure that you are in the exact right play for the exact right look the defense is giving. So all you have to worry about is executing. Can you just describe for us the advantage Dak gives you guys from the moment the huddle breaks until the ball is snapped?
Yeah, I think, again, this is something that Dak has grown and matured with. I'm sure if you go back to his rookie year when he was playing, and maybe even his first year, I wasn't around, of course. But, this is something that he's learned. But, anytime, and all offenses have it, most defenses have it. But, there's 2 play packages, or there's plays that you can package together. It could be as simple as a run that goes to a pass, a run one direction that goes to another run. And some people call them alerts. Some people call them kills. Some people call them different things. But it's based off of the defense and what the defense shows. And we talk about maximizing our premier play opportunities. And so when you can get into a premier play, why wouldn't you do that? And I think that's just something that Dak not only has a great feel for, but he's just got such confidence in his ability to communicate it, whether we're playing at home and it's kind of quiet, or whether we're playing on the road in a tough environment. He's got the ability to communicate, share the information, get everybody on the same page, and do it in a very calm and poised manner, which helps, breed confidence for the group.
Staying on the topic of your on-field relationship with Dak, the phrase play caller's purpose has been uttered a lot around here over the past few years. Dak was talking yesterday about how when you guys install a play, you go through the process of how it can be successful, the type of defense it can attack, etc. Why has that process become important, and when did that start for you guys?
Well, again, it goes back to me. I mean, I would say it really goes back to, when we were in San Diego going way back. Drew Brees was a second-year player in the NFL, and he was a starter. And, we just wanted to make sure that for a young player, he understood why we were calling a play. So let's say it's 1st and 10 and you call a quick game, right? And let's say there's a matchup with a receiver, okay? It doesn't matter who the receiver is against a good corner. And it's 1st and 10 and the corner's pressed, and you're like, hey, let me take a shot over here on the go ball. That's not necessarily the wrong decision, but if the design of the play when it comes in and the quarterback knows the play caller's purpose is, hey, get me a completion, that tells him that unless I love that matchup over there with the receiver versus the corner, I'm going to probably take my quick game to the front side of a 3-by-1 formation or something like that. And I think it was a way for us to get young players to understand, hey, we're calling this play to do this. I want to be in at least 2nd and 5, not 2nd and 10 when we call this play. And then when you insert a veteran, incredible quarterback like Dak, it still reminds them. I mean, you got to remember, these guys are incredible competitors. These guys are incredible world-class athletes that are trying to do what I think is the hardest thing in all of sports, play quarterback in this league. And there's times that, look, they're like, man, I can make that throw. Hey, I want to make that throw. Hey, there's a window there. I can sneak it in. And, I go back to last game against the Jets. I mean, one of the best decisions Dak made was it was like a 3rd and 8. We were around midfield going from our left to right. And Dak checked it down to Hunter Lepke out in the flat, and Fergie was out there blocking. They kind of played soft. We were trying to push the ball down the field. Like, that was just him understanding the situation and knowing, let me get a completion. And, I thought he took what the defense gave us. And then, Hunter and Fergie executed their block and run, and we had a new set of downs. We ended up finishing with a touchdown.
How did you see that process translate directly on the George Pickens touchdown? You had mentioned earlier in the week that was where the ball was intended to go on that play.
Yeah, again, I think, we were struggling a little bit in the third quarter, and I was telling the media early in the week, I literally told Dak about 5 minutes into the third quarter, I was like, yeah, I suck right now. He started laughing. He goes, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. I said, yeah, I'll be all right. So then we called a shot play that we liked. We'd kind of, seen Sauce doing a good job of playing a lot of press man-to-man, and we saw it and ended up going with the call. And Dak just made an incredible throw. Sauce is a really, 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 really good corner, but George's ability to hand fight and then finish the play was incredible. And Dak came running back over. We're all excited. It was a big play, and GP made an incredible touchdown. And I screamed down like, I'm back. So it's just fun things like that, man, that you wish people could hear on game day. I think at some point the league's probably going to offer a service where you guys can listen to tape-delayed audio of what we do, like they do in NASCAR, because there's some wild, wild stuff that goes on those headsets and sidelines.
Coach, you guys got the Panthers this week. Bryce Young has faced a lot of criticism as a former number 1 overall pick. How close does he look to you right now to becoming that player that he was drafted to be?
I think, when you look at Bryce, I mean, it's a little bit unfair. I mean, you get, his rookie year, he's got a head coach who gets fired a couple days in and then or a couple games in, and then he gets a new play caller, and then, Dave, Canales comes in with a new staff, and they're putting in a system and a lot of moving parts and, different weapons and things like that. What I would say to you guys is, again, I see him becoming more and more in command of what they're doing, with Dave Canales and Brad Idzik, two guys I know very, very well from my time with them in Seattle. And, anytime you can lead your team back from a 17-0 deficit in this league, that grows confidence. And I know for a fact he's got to feel really good going in to this game, coming off of that effort. And, again, I think, he's using his weapons well. You see why people coveted McMillan, coming out of Arizona, such a talented player. And I think, the Renfro deal was good. They lost Thielen, so Renfro was a great get for them. And then, again, they're going to go as the running game goes. And, again, that's a quarterback's best friend anyway. So in short, I think he's really doing a nice job of not, I hate saying manage the game, because he's doing more than managing the game, but playing to their strengths.
You mentioned Tet McMillan there, and that was a guy that a lot of people thought, the Cowboys were high on in April. What have you seen from him specifically so far, and what did you guys like about him during the process?
Well, yeah, I mean, we did. We brought him in for a visit. We did a lot of work on him. Again, the size and the ability to make plays down the field were great. But his run after catch is really, for a high cut, tall guy, his run after catch is really, really strong. And you just see the trust that the two of those guys got. I use the term all the time. It's the me to you factor. And the me to you factor is a quarterback's ability to throw a ball to a receiver, intended receiver, tight end, whatever it is, and say, hey, look, man, I'm going to throw it from me to you in a certain spot that even when you're covered, you're open. And I will say that it looks like that Bryce and McMillan have kind of developed that, really quickly. And I think that's usually a great sign for an organization when something like that happens, because it takes a lot of time to do that. It takes a lot of practice reps. It takes years at times. And so those two guys are definitely on the same page.
Brian Schottenheimer joining us here on 105.3 The Fan. Brian, there are a lot of injured players, and I'm sure you're looking forward to getting back into the fold, but one we haven't talked about in a while is DeMarvion Overshown. We saw him doing some light ball drills a couple of weeks back. Is he starting to get close to opening that practice window? Is he still pretty far out?
No, I think he's doing great. And, again, he's a guy that you always should bet on beating the timeline, and, again, I look over there and I watch him work, and what I love about it, what I'm amazed by is, man, like he is just so purposeful and intentful and intentional in the way he's working. Like, that is his Super Bowl. And I think because of that, I think there's no question in my mind that he's going to be back sooner than later.
I don't want to interrupt the bromance, but did you want to say anything to Bobby or Peyton about their Longhorns against your Gators?
I mean, look, guys, there's nothing really to say. I mean, you go into the swamp. I mean, they say it. That's where people go to die. I mean, and that's really what happened. I mean, now, do I like Texas? Yes, I do. I cheer for Texas every week. I'm a big Sark fan. Jaden Blue, Demo. We've talked about those guys. We've got a big Texas contingency, but at the end of the day, 96 national champ, Florida Gator, it's going to live on forever, baby.
And see, because of that personal relationship, I can take those tough conversations now from Brian Schottenheimer, so I can just hear about that. That's the whole purpose. That's what the Schotty culture is about, Sean.
Coach, great stuff as always. Happy early birthday. Go get one in Carolina. Thank you. We'll do it again next week.
All right, guys. Appreciate you.
There he is, Brian Schottenheimer, brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys.